What's up, Totem Pole Nation? I'm Coach Hutchins here with Coach Troy Taylor. Welcome to the Life Lessons podcast here with Totem Pole Nation. How's it going, Coach?
Hey, it's going great. You know, the madness. I think he had too much madness. I think he got hooked up with the Iron Sheik last night. I think they had a good time down there in St. Petersburg, Florida. But hopefully he'll show up. And Tim, Coach, what were your thoughts on the beef, the feud, the heat that was brought between Tim and the madness yesterday?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Tim was definitely more prepared than Madness when it came to it.
Man,
so, I think Tim won that first round.
Tim brought the intensity level. All right, so yesterday, after we got done lifting, I went to go eat Taco Tuesday. All right, and Taco Tuesday is still hitting. But what did you get into after we lifted yesterday, Coach?
Just went home, talked to my parents, and basically just had a good night and, watch some TV, watch some movies, stuff like that.
All right, right on. All right, so trending topics today, the LA Lakers. Did you hear anything about the Lakers game? Do you know anything?
Lakers beat Timberwolves 108-102 in the play-in tournament, as well as the Hawks beat the Heat 116-105 when we got the Bulls versus Raptors tonight and Thunders versus Pelicans tonight at 9:30 as well. So playoffs are getting set up. Playoffs start April 15th. So that's just 3 days away.
And Anthony Edwards did not have a very big game last night. I'm a big Anthony Edwards fan from Georgia, but he didn't have his best night last night. So it's a one-game play-in?
Yeah, just a one-game play-in for these 8 teams. So it should be a very interesting playoffs. Obviously, most of y'all, if you're paying attention to sports, have seen some of the stuff going on, the punch being thrown and different things happening. People are a little upset, with different things going on to the playoffs. But, professional athletes, you get paid to play. So
UFC, Coach. Give us a little UFC update on what's going on in the world of UFC.
So Saturday night, UFC, I want to say 289. I'm not 100% sure on the number. I've been following it forever. I went to UFC 155. But Israel Adesanya got to fight Pereira, and that was their 4th fight total, only the 2nd in the UFC. And second round knockout, and everybody just lost it and went nuts. The last style bender, aka Israel Adesanya, was talking about how he was playing possum and just sucked Pereira in. And next thing you know, throws a right hook, a little left, and then comes back with another right on the temple and knocks him clean out. It was an absolutely amazing fight to watch, as well as there's other fights that night. Masvidal ended up retiring as well. He's been plagued with injuries and stuff like that. I've listened to him on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I think it might be time. He's got a lot of different things. He's got a boxing gym that he owns and runs, so he's got lots of things going for him. But the UFC is a brutal sport. A lot of people don't realize that most UFC fighters, if you're not one of the top dogs, you're fighting multiple times a year, and typically the purse for the fight is $60,000. So the only way that these guys are getting paid are through other endorsements, unless you're a Conor McGregor or
kind of like us.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So UFC, what I'm liking about them is they do have a lot of different events happening every single week, just about. So let's see. I'm trying to look up the next UFC fight coming up. We've got Max Holloway versus Arnold Allen. Holloway is the favorite. That is this Saturday as well. Edson Barbosa, been watching him for a long time, fighting Billy Quarantillo. Really after that, though, besides as you get on to 6-match Clay Guida, I'm going to go ahead and just say Clay's going to lose. Clay has not been doing very well in the UFC. But as you go down the list, it is a fight night, so it's lesser known names in the UFC. But we've got a couple different things coming up. It was 287. The next one, 288, is going to be Aljamain Sterling, Henry Cejudo for the bantamweight title fight. That doesn't come up until May 6th. So there's a lot of things happening in the UFC, but like we said yesterday, they need to get Cyborg. He will bring everything. He'll bring it in the cage, in the octagon, and he'll bring the fans. He'll bring the energy. Cyborg, we got to get you in there, man. Maybe even Dana White's Contender Series, something like that. Get you an opportunity.
Do they have a TV show that he can like try out for or something?
Yeah, so the Dana White's Contender Series has been the opportunity because they used to have Ultimate Fighter. I truly don't know. I don't think they're still doing that because they switched over to the Dana White's Contender Series. That would be the way for him to get in. But I really think just putting his fights out there. I know people were paying for the fights, but since his fights all last under a minute, like he should tweet out Dana White. He should tweet out every single UFC fighter. He should start calling out all these guys, not being disrespectful, but saying,
Coach,
hey,
can you help him with that?
I think I could. Yeah.
Do you have the video? Do you have the 38-second videos? Somebody didn't pay the light bill, Coach.
Yeah, I do not have the video. I just have what Coach Bald sent to me.
Bald posts all his videos.
Yeah, we got to work with Coach Bald. There's a little shot at him when sometimes he takes videos. He's doing this.
Yeah, some of those videos are me too, laughing in the background during that one kick. The guy headbutted his foot.
Yeah,
temple.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're talking about a guy that has 5 professional fights, 6 professional fights, and I don't think he spent, longer than 5 minutes in the cage. So he's got a lot going for him, and you just got to get him out there. I mean, I don't know. I know a lot of people do know his names, but I think when you're talking about the entire world of mixed martial arts, like we talked about yesterday, you got the Professional Fighting League, you got Bellator, obviously the UFC. There's other organizations around. I'm surprised we haven't seen him on the UFC Fight Pass, where they show all these different organizations around the country. But Cyborg, he is definitely worth watching, definitely worth getting into the UFC. Like I said, at the very least, PFL or Bellator. He's got a lot of options. A lot of people that I think would benefit from taking him and getting him on a card.
Yeah, so I'm looking here. I'm seeing that Justin Jefferson is trending. That's the receiver for the Vikings. Great player. I don't know why. I guess because he's getting paid $27 million. That's a lot of money. But Madness, where are you at? Jim Tim, where are you at? Jim Tim supposedly is waiting on the Madness. I don't know if he had his electrical shock therapies yet today. But he will probably be showing up here soon.
Yeah, and back on Justin Jefferson, they're just looks like he was just tweeting out about Israel Adesanya knockout and tweeting out about Odell Beckham Jr. As well. So I think that's
what is he saying about Odell? I'm sure he's an Odell fan since he was one of the guys getting the $500 handshakes from Odell Beckham after the national championship.
If I was not on my school Wi-Fi, I'd be able to tell you exactly what's going on. So give me 2 seconds while I pull this up. So, more than likely, like we talked about yesterday, I mean, Odell, was a great player, still is a great player, but I don't think he's going to be anything worthwhile. The Ravens, they've had their ups and their downs. I just don't see them being incredibly competitive. I think the Steelers are going to get them this year. And let's see, there it is. He didn't really say much. This is literally what was said. He just says OBJ to the Ravens. So he says, get activated. We'll see what happens again. I just think that, the guy is plagued with injuries. I just don't see him being, he'll be a factor, but I don't think he'll be the big dog over there. And I don't think he's going to put up the numbers or the plays like he did when he was with the Giants.
Yeah, let me show you something. Last night there was a controversy that was brewing on Twitter. And on Twitter, there was a poll that was shared. Who are you listening to? A 40-year NFL vet? A guy who has never actually coached? A guy who cleans pools? Or a Twitter coach? Because Coach McNally was called out because he is teaching the pigeon toe.
Yeah, I saw that tweet that he put out there.
And he's this O-line expert guru, Duke Manyweather. All right, he's got 50,000 followers. He decided to call out Coach McNally's "My knee hurts watching this." You know, let's see what Coach is saying here. All right.
Go back one more time. But look, Mike, look. Creep it out. Okay. Okay, there we go. Ready? Then just creep it out. All right. Now leave it there. Creep it, leave it. Now turn your weight inside. All right. Okay, so what we're saying, let's go. Sit down. Sit there. Okay. So what we're saying is he's kick step. He's moved his outside foot. Get your head up. You notice his weight is inside. He might have a little tilt. His ankle and his knee are ahead of his hip, okay? All right, let's go with James up, okay? So James, all I'm seeing is you're the center, okay? And for some reason you're gonna kick to your right, so just kind of show me that. It doesn't have to be a big step, but show me how you're gonna end up, you know what I mean? That's it. Okay, here we go. Just take your time. We're gonna kind of creep that right foot up, okay? Okay, all right, now, okay, get your head up. All right, so he is set to his right.
All right.
You can take it just a little deeper if you.
So that right there was what sent people into an outrage. They said that is anatomically incorrect, but Coach is saying that he does not want that kid to open his toe, which will open his shoulders on a kick step against a wide five technique. I mean, he's coaching that, but he just doesn't want that knee to get over the ankle and get the weight going out, right? I mean, what is your opinion on that? I mean, I don't think he's actually teaching them to stand like that. He's just teaching them the feeling.
That's when they're going back. Yeah, if that's your stance, I disagree. If that is your kick step, I'm not opposed to it. When I was playing tackle, playing left tackle in college, we kept our feet straight the whole time. The biggest thing was never turn your shoulders, always stay parallel to the line of scrimmage, even when you're kicking back, and then staying in your lane and then not making contact to anybody outside until they actually came into you. Once they came into you and there wasn't a blitzing linebacker coming, then yes, you could turn your shoulders. But same concept, you got a guy on the outside, blitzing linebacker comes in. What's the most dangerous gap? The inside. So you got to push and you got to kick back over. So with me, somebody that's had 4 knee surgeries, I'm not the biggest fan of contorting different things where I'm putting my toe out and I'm sitting back and I got my knee bent in, towards my midline. For me, I just wouldn't be necessarily doing that. But I'm not saying it's a bad coaching technique at all.
This is his explanation right here. I'm gonna show you his explanation to, what he's talking about, because he got outraged. He came back. This is his video from yesterday.
There's always haters everywhere, particularly on Twitter. So I think some coaches are confused when I talk about pigeon toe. When you're on the running game, your knees are out, your toes are out, like sumo, like power clean, like deadlifting, etc. There's the perfect position right there. But on pass,
see, I'm so happy that Coach is using the analogy of power cleaning, deadlifting, squatting when he's talking about this posture, because a lot of people didn't agree with it because he doesn't teach a flat back. And I'm glad he's using that now with the run game.
It's blocking.
We used to call it the fit.
If, let's say, I'm the right tackle and I'm kicking and I turn my foot out, I turn my whole body. If I drop my post foot and I'm going to my inside and I drop my inside foot like that, I turn and I have to drive I'm not square. So my point is, the pigeon toe effect is only on pass blocking that when I kick the foot, I don't want to open the toe like that. I don't want the second step to come like that. I'd like this foot to be a little more, you're never going to get pigeon-toed. That's impossible. You can't hold the foot that way. But if you stress a pigeon toe, you might get the toe to turn a little bit like that, okay? Or a little bit like that, okay? If it's just straight, of course you can't move like that. I'm not fucking stupid. So really, the only reason you try to do the pigeon toe is so when you're working to the outside, that you're not just opening up this foot, which opens up that foot. So whoever is evaluating me or critiquing me on Twitter about my pigeon toe, saying it hurts their knees or it's not in line with the sumo or the proper leverage you could use on the running game is correct, but I'm not coaching the outside foot to be pigeon-toed because of the running game. I just want to stay somewhat square so the guy doesn't turn and get hit in the chest.
Coach, being CSCS certified, do you understand what he's talking about after he explains it?
Yes. So with the first video, it was a little confusing. There, he explains it pretty well. He actually talks about staying square. And, I was on the top production offense in the country. We had over 500 yards a game playing left tackle. Every single play that we did, whether it was a run or a pass, our feet were north-south, we called it. They were straight up. So our kick step, still straight up. Our reach step, our drive step, everything, our toe was pointing forward. And there was exact reason of we didn't want to turn our shoulders and create lanes. So, I've known some guys that have kick stepped where they go out to create more of a bubble, more of a pocket for the quarterback. But, we had one of the best quarterbacks in the country, Randall Hippard. You created the lanes that you were in, and it created a perfect pocket anyway, so you didn't need to go out. Now, if you had, a guy in a wide 9, you start kicking out, again, you still want to stay square, but at the same time, if you kick out way wide to a 9, you got a delayed blitz. You've just created this massive hole that any linebacker could come in through. So, I've always been opposed to getting these wide kick steps, even though I've coached some players that no matter what you do, that's what they want to do.
So, Coach McNally invented the wide zone. He taught Alex Gibbs how to run it. He taught Dante Scarnecchia. He coached Anthony Munoz. He had the #1 rushing offense in the 1980s for the Bengals under Forrest Gregg and Bill Sam Weish. And this guy coached 40 years in pro football. And there's coaches that have not even coached one single play of offensive line that are Twitter coaches and trainers out there that are, hammering Coach McNally because of some video where he's showing a kid. I mean, he's overcoaching it, right? I mean, they're never, ever going to be able to get in that alignment.
Yeah, that pigeon toe thing where he was in the first video where you're looking, I'm just even trying to emulate it here. I mean, that just puts a lot, I can already feel that on the inside of my knee. Again, having every ligament just about besides my PCL messed up. I think too, you're right on the button. There's so many, as a high school coach, there's so many kids that go to these quote unquote coaches and trainers that all they ever did was watch YouTube, read a book, and then boost themselves up on social media and say that they're the best that they could, you could ever get. And I'm going to make your kid Division I. There's a guy in the area that's got nearly every quarterback with him. We look at what he's doing. He's teaching you to play like not Joe Burrow, not somebody that's actually, he's teaching every single person to be a sprint out, throw across the body, across the field. Now you get up to college and you talk to any offense coordinator, any quarterback coach. What's the #1 thing that you don't want to do on a football field? Throw across the body, throw across the field. It's not going to work.
You will appreciate this. Now, this is the guy that Coach McNally said he learned from. This is Scott Peters, tip of the spear, assistant offensive line coach for the Cleveland Browns, and Bill Callahan. And this is who Coach McNally coached when he was with the Giants. Check this guy out, what he says.
Yes, that's right, jiu-jitsu training, a 16th century martial art whose techniques others have brought to the NFL before, like Cleveland Browns assistant offensive line coach Scott Peters, who believes the disciplines can keep those on the gridiron safe.
Anytime a person is taken down, one of the first things that they do in judo, jiu-jitsu, wrestling is teach the participant how to land effectively. So there are some things you can take away and glean from that.
Peters was an NFL offensive lineman for 7 seasons.
All right, Coach, I'm going to pause that there because we'll probably get a copyright infringement. I don't know if we can change where our alignment is on the video, and that might change, but I'm not sure. But I'm going to keep it going.
Near the end.
Now, let me ask you, because you've actually studied this martial art, right?
Yes, yeah, I competed in jiu-jitsu and won tournaments. You know, in competition, I've never lost in jiu-jitsu. The only reason I stopped is kept getting injured.
Well, talk a little bit about the martial art and what does it consist of, and how does that relate to the football field?
So big thing in jiu-jitsu, a lot of times when people go to it, they think it's like wrestling because you see it in competition and it's fast and high intensity stuff. Really, jiu-jitsu is like a chess match. It's very slow, methodical. Body position is incredibly huge. So translating that to a football field, body position is just about everything, especially if you're playing offensive or defensive line. Jiu-jitsu is also great because, you know, we don't teach to hold, but we definitely, you want to get you inside and get on that chest plate. And if you're doing jiu-jitsu, you have what's called a gi or kimono. You're grabbing that thing, and that's what you're using to manipulate people's movement. So that's a great carryover into football. And same thing too. I've seen it was Aldo Kazeka Munez, who was a FILA world champion, and he taught me this one takedown where I'm literally pulling the guy's arm up and I'm diving under his arm, and it flips him right to his back. So without doing the flip to the back, diving under somebody's arm is the same thing as going low and ripping underneath. So there's lots of different things that you can take away from jiu-jitsu. And not only that, like Scott just said, the discipline of being in a martial art teaches you so much about how to understand other sports as well. Jiu-jitsu was the best thing that I ever did. The only problem for me was I just kept getting injured. I tore my meniscus 4 times. So when you have a messed up knee like that, and everything you're doing is, I can't do it with my legs, you can't see them. But when you're twisting your legs, going in, you're going out, you're going every which way. You're scissoring this way, you're going that way. You're doing all sorts of different stuff with your knees, getting yourself in correct body positions. You know, one, it's going to make you more flexible. 2, it's going to make your hips incredibly flexible, incredibly agile. And football is all about hips. You know, Coach McNally talked about, you know, power clean and deadlift. Well, those are hip exercises. So when you have strong hips, and you got flexible hips, you're going to be so much more powerful, and be able to use that power to go after your opponents. Now, Scott just mentioned judo. Judo was a fabulous sport. I just was never able to get into it because I was training Muay Thai and jiu-jitsu for 3 hours a day. And the 4th hour was judo, but I was up at 6 o'clock and judo started at 9 p.m. So was unable to really dedicate the time to that. But yeah, just in the general sense, I wished all my athletes did judo. I wished all my students did judo or jiu-jitsu. Any of those things are going to make them better students, better athletes, just better people in general.
So, life lesson. There's not one coach on Twitter who was successful in the NFL who's posting free content every morning. And there's not one coach on Twitter that wouldn't trade to be where Jim McNally has been and where he is coached and who he is coached. But they are criticizing Coach McNally, and this is a free resource. Guys like him don't give away information for free. He's 80 years old. They want to know why he's grumpy. Well, that's why they call him grumpy old men. He's 80. Coach, what's your take from this? I mean, the guy is giving
He's exactly right. I mean, Twitter is all about, I would say, dissent and argument. I mean, you could post anything. You could say grass is green and somebody's going to disagree with you. You could say the sky is blue and somebody's going to disagree with you. Twitter is, you know, I got off Twitter a long time ago just because of the fact of how toxic it could be, just social media in general. I'd rather have a discussion with somebody face to face or here, in a podcast setting or some type of interview type deal. But if you're getting upset about Twitter and retweets and comments there, you got other things going on in life that are much more important than 180 characters. I guess now it's 400 characters. It's just, he's exactly right. It's an 80-year-old man on Twitter. It took him how long. This is a little thing. How long did it take him to change his profile picture, Coach?
It took me an hour to change the profile picture with him when I first taught him.
So he's come a long way. Guys got a lot of followers now. He's posting every single day. So again, it's free content. It's free, advice, free information.
Wyatt Bode is a 21-year-old coach from Minnesota, and he has suggested that Coach McNally get a YouTube. Okay, Wyatt, I'm going to give you a little talk here now. Before Coach McNally met me, he did not know what YouTube was. He had never heard of YouTube. He had never watched a YouTube video. He thought CoachTube and YouTube was the same thing. Think about that. He did not know what YouTube was.
You do got to think
never watched a YouTube video his entire life. And
when you think about when you change your parents, your grandparents' TV from HDMI 2 to HDMI,
he has a beta player.
It looks like that you just literally coded how to create a nuclear bomb. Well, we're definitely working on teaching him 100%. We're getting him.
The guy has a beta.
Yeah.
A beta player, not a VHS, not a DVD, a beta.
Yeah, Laserdisc.
He has beta tapes. Coach, shout out our sponsors. We got to go get paid, baby.
Yeah, we definitely.
We're not making any money off of this.
No, this is just for fun in the morning, waking up.
We love y'all.
So, St. Pete Rejuvenate. Definitely check them out if you're in the St. Petersburg, Florida area. They are fantastic. Cultivate Wellness here in Richmond, Virginia. Check them out. Great CBD products. There is an assault on CBD right now happening in the state of Virginia where they're trying to regulate all this stuff, make you go through a big process. Completely disagree with that. Both my parents are on CBD. My aunt's on CBD. A lot of people I know, their lives completely changed just from CBD. It's non-psychoactive. It is not like THC. Where people are getting high or anything like that. So 100% check them out, cultivatewellness.com. You can order nationwide from them. So, Coach, appreciate
you. You have a wonderful voice. You have a wonderful voice and presence, a calming presence. You have a radio voice, but you have a face for TV. The women love this guy. They love him. I said he looked like the Undertaker the other day with that white light on him. He was so pale, but he looks good today. The women love that hair.
They do. The hair is my source of strength. And then also got me a job in a movie. So I got a movie coming out next year, 2024. So when that drops, I'll make sure Totem Pole Nation knows all about it. Just a small scene.
Welcome back, Coach. It's great to have you, man.
Coach, I appreciate you having me on here, man. It's always a great thing.
This is us. We're in this together.
Yeah, we're gonna pump out a lot more content.
The original.
We're gonna create a YouTube video teaching Coach McNally how to use YouTube to post his videos.
Yes,
I think that's a great idea. Why
viral?
It will. The guy.
And I got to FaceTime Coach McNally because he was FaceTiming me, but I didn't want to get him on there. I didn't want to bring him on the podcast. I don't think he likes it when I just throw him on there. Without him knowing he's being broadcast live, he's liable to say anything.
Yeah, we know that from some of his Twitter videos too.
Totem Pole, you're the best.
Totem Pole, we love you. Thank you so much for the support. 100K followers. That is incredible. We never even thought we'd get to, 10,000.
We celebrated when we got 1,000, didn't we? Or I don't know.
2,000, 5,000. We went out, got tacos. So
Wyatt, we're on it, brother. We are on it. I mean, we have the station. We have the Totem Pole. Tim, you're a little late. We got to go, brother.
Yeah, we got to go. I got students already heading to class. So, guys, take care. Appreciate you, Totem Pole Nation. We love you. Please like, share, subscribe. Keep commenting. We love when you actually talk to us through our live morning life lesson podcasts. So, y'all take care. We love you, and we will see y'all tomorrow.